Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Be the Wolf. I'm super excited today. We are going to talk about doing things over and how to do them over in a way that actually makes it work. If you've ever had things not work in your business, had things not work in your relationships or your health, and then like later down the line, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to try and lose weight again. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. And then you get to this certain point and it plateaus and crashes. You're going to do the same business strategy because it worked before, but only to a point. And then you get there and it crashes. We're going to talk about that, what's underneath that. I am here today with Tarra Stubbins, and she is a founder and a CEO of let me say that again, two multi-million dollar service-based organizations. And she knows a thing or two about this, but obviously she has broken that hump. So we're going to dive into her story and go deep into what it really takes to break free. And you guys know this show is all about breaking free, accessing freedom, to be who you truly are and bring what you're truly meant to bring into this world, into the world. And so we're going to talk about how to break free of that pattern and how Tara has done it. So, good morning or afternoon to those of you who are listening in the afternoon or evening. Tara, I'm so happy to have you here. Can you give us
I'm
just a
really
little?
excited.
Yeah. Can you give us just a little snippet about what it is that you do?
Sure. Currently, one of my main business that I run and focus on helps what I like to call accidental CEOs. So people who have fallen backwards into a really cool business idea actually launch and make those business ideas succeed out in the real world. And we can talk about why I'm really passionate about that, because I was an accidental CEO. But yeah, the long story short, that's what I do.
Beautiful. Let's dive into the accidental CEO part because I think that will lead us beautifully into that place where you ended up trying to do it all again in the same way. So, yeah, tell me about how you became an accidental CEO.
Yeah, I have an interesting kind of childhood. I actually dropped out of high school and jumped on a rock and roll tour bus when I was 15 years old. And so I had no kind of music background. I barely knew the people who were going out on tour. It wasn't even a real tour, it was like bars and not really big venues. And it wasn't really a tour bus. It just makes the story sound better, but it was like a dirty van, and I'm from Canada. It was going across Canada. And my mother wanted to kill me because it was in the mid 90s when cell phones weren't really a thing. So she couldn't track me. She had no idea where I was going, and off I went. And I wanted to do that because I was really passionate about I thought that one day I was going to be a rock star, but the problem is I have 0 musical talent. I know there's a guitar behind me if we're showing some pictures, but I can't play it. It's just pretty up there. I appreciate it. It's when I play it, it sounds like a dying animal. I can't sing, I can't dance. And so I was like, I guess I'm never going to be a rock star. But I started hanging out with people who are very good up on this stage, and I just wanted to help them. And that's what I did. And that's what I absolutely loved doing, being out on the tour that I was on. I loved helping. I didn't care that I was picking up their dirty underwear off the van floor or sweeping or mopping, I should say, like sticky bar stages. I didn't care. I just loved helping and I wanted more of that. So finished the tour, finished high school, a little late, but I did it. But I was always craving more of just helping people. And in that time in the music industry. And I was able to build a name for myself and work with some of the biggest rock stars in the world. I toured with the Rolling Stones for 2 world tours and supported Mick Jagger. I have helped Lady Gaga, Drake, Kiss, Nickelback, a whole bunch of big names, and loved it. But then I had another aha moment about 10-ish years in, where I thought, I just wish I could help more than one rock star at a time. It's really
Mm.
fun, like chasing one around the world, but I feel like there's more. And so I finished the tour I was on and opened up a business in quotes. I really didn't know what I was doing. I just, again, had that big dream that I wanted to help more than one crazy rock star. I had no business background. I was a dirty roadie. I could sweep barroom stages. That was about it. And so through that kind of goal and dream of mine, I ended up building a business, but I made so many mistakes along the way because I didn't know what to ask. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I just brute forced my way through helping people. And I built this business. And that's why I like to say that I was an accidental CEO because I didn't even know I was building a business to actually building something that business is still going today and is a large lifestyle management and personal concierge business where we manage the homes of very successful people. And so that's also why I'm really passionate about helping other accidental CEOs because I wish I had somebody out there who could just tell me, oh, don't do that, or maybe you should try this a little bit, and then help me avoid some of the pitfalls that I had.
Yeah, let's dig into that place, right? So you're being a roadie basically, and you're helping, you're like doing this. So, what was the biggest transition from trying to go from doing one client at a time, basically, to the bringing it into a business? I know you made a lot of mistakes. Let's talk about how you did it, because I think there's a lot of people, right? It's, oh, I do this one thing and maybe I'm working for somebody else, or maybe I have one client, but how do I bring it into the next? And so it, without business experience and without necessarily knowing, quote, the right way to do it, what is the way that you did it?
Yeah. I think so for me, going from helping one crazy rock star to managing multiple homes wasn't necessarily the hard part for me because I was already juggling so many balls out on tour in strange locations with people who didn't speak the same language I did. So I was really comfortable in navigating multiple projects, multiple people at a time. I think what really helped me go from, okay, I have this kind of one person that I know that I can help in the city of Toronto where I was living, to actually building the business was I said yes to absolutely everything. And I know
Mm.
a lot of times people talk about don't say yes to everything because you're going to burn out, but that is how I started and grew my business. I never said no to an opportunity. Somebody could ask me randomly to do something that wasn't even part of my the other thing was is I didn't really have a business plan because I didn't know what I was doing. So I was just, oh, I'll just go help a lot of people. And then so any question or request that came in, can you walk my dog? I wasn't a dog walker. Sure, I'll walk your dog, but walking their dog made them trust me and then made them refer me or introduce me to one of their other friends who needed some help with a big party planning. Again, not a party planner, but I said yes and I figured it out. And I hosted a big dinner party for kind of all the rich and famous in Toronto. And then I got to meet people and then they referred me. But if I'd said, oh no, I don't know how to plan a party, then I wouldn't have been able to build the momentum to the success that I built. The other key there is also your network. As I was running around the world, without really cell phones or being able to Google or Uber or anything, having to figure it out on your own with these crazy requests from rock stars, you have to lean on your network or you have to build a network really quickly. So you have to lean on the hotel concierge or the random taxi driver that you met, or you just have to lean on the people around you. And because I was so used to doing that, because that was the only way I would be successful out on the road, that's exactly what I did at the very beginning of my business that I was starting. I just told everyone, "Hey, I want to help more than one crazy rock star. Do you know anybody?" And that kind of helped get the ball moving.
It's what I find really cool, and younger generations will never have this, is that there's this self-reliance that happens when you don't have all the tech to do the work for you. And when I talk about freedom, a big piece of that is having sovereignty and not being beholden to somebody or something else. And obviously, we want to ask for help and we want to do all of that. And you had to do that relying on your network. But there's this piece where it's you have to figure it out in a way that comes from you. You can't Google it and have somebody give you the how to. And I think when we're talking about building what is right for us, that is one of the most important things. And because we are so our everything, all the answers are at our fingertips, and we're following all these how to's, but other people's how to's. And so for you, in the contrast of having everything at your fingertips now, like being able to Google a how to, find a YouTube video, how do I become a concierge for rock stars? You can probably find videos on that. You might have made them, in fact. But what do you feel is the contrast in for you in being able to rely on the technology versus being having to rely on a deeper sense of self previously?
It's actually interesting that you said that. I give a lot of keynote presentations on time management and how to, I like to call it, be the rock star of your own life. And one of the kind of slides I show is when I first started my business, Google, it was in 2007. So Google existed, but it wasn't as sophisticated as now. And there was
Yeah.
definitely no ChatGPT or anything like that. And I Googled how to run a successful business. But the slide that I show is you can Google anything now. You can Google how to be a celebrity. And it comes up as go meet other friends that are around celebrities, dress the part. It's just like the most ridiculous kind of 10-step
Yeah.
list of now you're a celebrity. And when I Googled how to run a successful business, I don't remember exactly what it told me, but I remember two things. One, it told me to network, which I understood because that's what I was doing. The other thing it told me was to hustle. And I hated that word because I couldn't quantify it. I could understand work really hard and push towards your goal, but I was wanting Google to tell me what I was actually working on. Tell me what I have to do in this moment. But it just, hustle was just like work hard.
Yeah.
And so even now, I think that people get caught up in that hustle culture, or I like to call it quit the cult of busy, because that kind of busy epidemic is always out there. Like just work and then you're going to succeed. And as I said at the beginning, I said yes to everything. So of course I was working really hard. I still do long hours a day, but is that really being your kind of authentic self? Probably not. And I know I didn't really answer your question, but I found that really interesting that you brought that up because I talk about that a lot. But your question about seeing the steps laid out for you, I think because I've been able to work from a place where I didn't get that from the very beginning of my business, I learned how to use my own brain and figure things out by myself first. I love using AI or whatever it is now, or a good Google search or YouTube to help me become faster and better, but I don't use it to help me be me.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm actually launching another business, and I would go on AI, whatever bot you want to use, and ask it to write me a business plan. And I would get so frustrated with it because I'm like, this just sounds so cheesy and
Yeah.
just not me. And then you keep saying, make it sound more like me. And then you're like, why am I not just writing it in the first place? So I think it's great for ideas and ideation, but not necessarily for what is going to work for you. And I have one more thought on that. Building a business or doing whatever you want to do, achieving your goals in life, you're only going to get as far as your authentic self. So you can copy even without copying a plan spit out by ChatGPT or Google or whatever, you can only go so far because you are not that person that you're trying to
Yeah.
copy. And they have all the history, they have everything. And that's why their business or whatever they're doing has gone so far because of what they bring to the table. It's like making like following a recipe. You can follow everybody can follow it exactly, but it's gonna taste a little different depending on who actually is making it.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I always say, like with my clients and anybody really, it's like the moment you are looking for the how to, you are stepping out of your authenticity because there are who you are has, just as you said, has a unique perspective, a unique way of doing things, something that only you can do. And if you're looking for the how to and you find it, you're going to be doing somebody else's how to, which means that the magic that you bring is off the table. And there are plenty of people who have built businesses that way, right? I'm just going to follow exactly what I'm supposed to do. Just tell me what I'm supposed to do. So many people are like, I can hire marketing coaches and business coaches. Just tell me what to do. But so few of those coaches have the ability to help you actually tap into who you truly are so you can figure out what it is that you have to do for you. Now, so you built your business this way with this way of operating, the same way that you operated when you were working with the rock stars and using the network and trying to figure it out, maybe a little bit of Google here and there. You didn't get great answers. I mean,
Nope.
network and it's still the same. It's still like everybody's putting out these marketing like how-to things because everybody wants to know the how-to because people are so afraid at the core to be free, to be who they truly are. So you built the business and it got to a certain point and then you needed to rebuild the business. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so that business, as I said, still running, didn't it's even keel. But during the time I was building that business, I was craving support from other people like me, other entrepreneurs. I didn't even really know that word. And back in 2007, there wasn't podcasts, there wasn't co-working spaces or incubators. It was really hard to find that community. And when the first co-working space opened in my city, I was like the second person to join. I volunteered at the front desk. I was so excited to be around other people who were building businesses. Usually, when the people that I could find who were building businesses were like real estate agents, IT consultants, which I had no idea what that meant, and like a mortgage broker. And it wasn't someone who was like actually doing what I was trying to do. And so that co-working space and the people around me, I was like, this is amazing. There's so many other people who are building businesses. And I wanted to be part of it, and I could see their journeys, and I was part of their journeys, and we were reflecting on our own journeys together, and I could see that a lot of people were struggling trying to get over what I like to call the hump of success. So you can get to a certain point, and then it's really hard to get to the next point.
Yeah.
And because of kind of my background as an assistant, I realized it was because they didn't have that strategic help behind them, and I didn't have it either. And so I thought, I'm going to create that. And so again, I fell backwards into building a business, and I just helped them for free. I helped them as very strategic executive assistant because I was trying to figure it out for myself. And then I was helping them with what I was figuring out. And that
And
business, yep.
there's something really cool about that. And I know with my own work, and we sometimes, when it's our own problem, we can't see how to fix it because we're in our own personal shit. But when it's somebody else's problem, it's very clear how to fix it. So there's something really cool about you having done that in a way so that you could figure out how to do it for yourself, but by looking at it through the lens of other people's stuff, because you don't have all that emotional attachment when it's somebody else's business that you do, and all the internal, oh, what are they going to think about me if I do it this way? And that, like all that internal stuff, which pretty much is like if you've tried everything, all the strategies and all the things, and your business is not working, it is an internal game at that point. It is nothing to do with the strategies, because the strategies, all of them fucking work. It's just how are you actually implementing the strategies? So I love that you were helping other people to solve the problem that you are trying to fix yourself.
Yeah. And again, I didn't realize that the helper in me just wanted to help other people.
Yeah.
And that business ended up growing really quickly because there's a lot of startup founders who wanted help, and ended up scaling that business to almost 9 million, actually a little over 9 million a year within about 4 years, 4 or 5 years. And that is the business that took the ultimate nosedive and blew up in my face and was a burning disaster. And that business, there's lots of reasons why that happened. And when it blew up, and it blew up in about 3 months. So it was a very fast
Wow.
decline. It was 3 months. It had been simmering for a while, but the
Right.
decline happened pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
so I passed a ton of blame on. I hired a friend's fault. She couldn't keep up with the business, blame her. Or that one client who tried to sue. We were in a service business and we grew really fast. So we had lawsuits. That client that sued us, their fault for money going into them. No, once I actually sat down and reflected, I realized it was because I'm the leader and was the leader of the business, and I made horrible decisions along the way.
Yeah. Let's
And
let's
so I'll get you in one sec. We crashed to about 20K a month. And I was like looking at personal bankruptcy. I had taken out personal guarantee loans, bad debt to try and keep up with this train that was moving way too fast for me.
Yeah, there's something that you talked about is really important, and I just want to reiterate it is when things started going not the right way, you did what most people do, right? Well, whose fault is this? And you're looking at, oh, it's the friend's fault. Oh, it's this employee's fault. Oh, it's this client's fault. Oh, it's this lawsuit. Like all of these things, it's like all these things are happening to me. And what people don't realize is your life is the culmination of the decisions you have made. And sure, of course, there's natural disasters and some random things that do happen. But for the most part, even how your life ends up after those is a result of the decisions that you make. And so I love that you recognize that you're passing blame. And the fastest way to get out of a situation that you don't like is to ask yourself, how am I responsible for this? And so you taking that point of understanding that, hey, I'm the leader. I made these decisions. So this is on me is like anybody out there who's listening, if you're thinking it's somebody else's or something else's fault that your business is not working, you've got to, again, look inside. How am I creating this? And so I just wanted to reiterate that point because I think it is such an important thing. And by you actually taking that responsibility and owning that, you were able to, that's the first step for you to actually shift out of this. So, what did, tell me about what happened next when you started being like, okay, I'm the leader, this is on me.
That took me a while to get to. So,
Yeah.
in my passing blame, I was like, the business blew up because of everyone else's fault, and I'm just gonna prove them wrong and restart the business again without them, and we're gonna do amazing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so so I tried that for a little bit, and that didn't work. And it was a good 6 months of really trying to brute force my way back into the same business. And there is tons of factors at play of why the business wouldn't take off like it did before. Before it was so organic. I was helping people for free that were in my network, and then I was doing a lot of the work myself and putting a lot of time and energy into it, and then you would get those referrals, and then the network would grow. And then also COVID happened where businesses were taking off, and that really helped the situation. And there was just a lot of things that were in place to help the business grow and scale really quickly. And when I was trying to brute force my way to do it again, of course it's not going to work. It's a different time, it's a different place. There was bad reputation out there about me and the business. Trying to organically restart the exact same business didn't work. And so when I started seeing that, that's when I started reflecting on, oh, this actually isn't a them thing. This is a
I'm
me thing.
I'm so glad that you made this point of beginning to what it took for you to get to this place of realization of, oh, this is a me thing. And to your point, trying to do something exactly the same way, you're not dealing with what is present, right? It's so for you, and people do this all the time. We do it in relationship, we do it in health, we do it whatever. It's okay, what is the thing, like this thing worked once before, so now it's going to work now, but you think that, but you're a different person. The time is different. The market is different. Everything else is different. So when we try to do what we've done in the past or follow somebody else's how to, we're not looking at what's actually here and present. One of the things I say, like when people are stressed out, I like tell them to start with what do I have right now? Focus on what do I have right now? What are the internal things that I have right now? Because it brings you into the present moment and gets you like aware of what's actually on your table to work with. And so tell me now about, like, you started to see that it was a me problem, but what did you start to understand about yourself in that process of going, "Oh shit, I tried to do it the same way and it's not working." There has to be something else because most people are still gonna just blame it on other people and they're gonna fucking do the cycle like 20 more times, or hopefully they get it in 3 or 4 times, but
Yes,
you did it in 1, which is really impressive. It's really impressive.
ish.
Okay,
I want to say I didn't necessarily do it in one. So
okay,
I had this kind of feeling like, oh, I can't blame this. This is really me. But there was also still, like, a money issue. I had to still make rent, I had, like, bills that I still had to pay, and I still had to feed myself, and I still had a couple of employees that were, like, hanging on and really supporting me, so I felt really entitled to, like, actually help them. And I really wanted to, again, make the business work. So I knew that we had to change, and I knew that our audience wasn't right at the time anymore. We were helping tech startups. And the problem with our business when it failed was because a lot of tech startups can go and hire virtual assistants overseas for $5 an hour. And I was not charging that. And it was a lot of trying to explain why we don't charge that and what else you can get out of it and the difference between an executive assistant and a virtual assistant. And that time wasn't right anymore. And I knew that the audience had to change. And something inside me, and I don't know what it was, kept telling me to go back to my roots and to be my authentic self. And I think really was when I was growing my business, I would do a lot of press and PR. I was on television a lot. And at the very beginning, people told me never to talk about my background with celebrities because
Mm.
they said if I want to work with startup founders, they're not going to understand that you help celebrities so you can help them. They're just going to all of a sudden think that you're too expensive or you're not for them. You only work with celebrities. So they told me not to be my authentic self for years.
Right.
Just talk about your business.
Following someone
Yeah,
else's how to. Yeah.
totally. And when we were talking before and you were saying about the wolf, which I know we're going to get into, I was like, that is totally my story of don't be your authentic self. And I would start talking about it and it would resonate with people, but the business was growing so fast, I wasn't even really thinking about it. But then when I had the business failure and I was starting to try to do it again, and then that wasn't working, I was like, I need to just go and talk about why I can do this again. And that was really, hey, I've worked with rock stars and the most successful people for 20 years. I can help you do this. And that started resonating with more people. And again, I don't know what told me in my head to start doing it, but that's what I started doing. But in the process of doing that, I had this big announcement with my small team of we're now helping celebrities. We're doing this. We're not talking to startup founders anymore. This is where we're going. But I was really scared to jump fully into that world because we had no foundation. And when a little kind of referral would come in or an inbound lead from kind of the previous world, I was like, oh, I'm taking that. We're going to go help those people. And the same problem would happen. And I was straddling the line of these two audiences, kind of two businesses that I was randomly building. And I was confusing the people I was talking to. I was confusing me. So that was
Wow.
another kind of backwards moment for me.
What were you when the other thing was coming in and you're like, "Oh, I need to take that and help these people too." What was going on internally for you? Because I know so many entrepreneurs struggle with that. Again, it's like, how do you say no? Right? Because before you built your business, I'm just gonna say yes to everything. And
Yep.
now, oh, by saying yes to everything, I'm actually hurting myself. But internally, why are you in touch with why you felt you needed to say yes?
For me, it was mostly just money. I was really scared not to have that income because I had lost everything already. And so I was just holding on to that. I was also holding on to an old past of mine. I hadn't fully let that go. Of these are the people that I helped successfully before. So why can't I just help one or two right now and then go back into this other building this world? I think a lot of entrepreneurs also do this where you hear you have to niche down and you're like, "Oh, no, I can help everyone. What does that? That's crap." And
And
I went through that a
and
lot.
And you nailed it right on the head. And like people don't realize that it's a scarcity mindset thing. And people think it's because I can help everybody and I want to be such a helper. And this is the story that we tell ourselves. But deep underneath that is fear that either you're not going to be seen as enough or there's not going to be enough. It's all about this feeling of lack. So it's, oh, I've got to do that, because if you don't have a feeling of lack, whatever it is, like lack of worthiness, lack of money, then you have no need. It's like you're in overflow. It feels if you don't have a feeling of lack. So you can say no because you trust that what you need is going to come to you. And going back really quick, I just want to honor the fact that it was your inner voice, your inner knowing that told you to go back to your roots and start and work that way. And the more in touch with who you are, the more that inner knowing and that intuition, the stronger it is. And that is the secret sauce that makes an entrepreneur successful. That if you're not in touch with yourself enough to be able to access that, you're always going to have mediocre at best businesses. It's never going to be that business that fulfills you and sets you free, like emotionally and financially.
Yeah. It's interesting. I fought with that for a while because a lot of people would always ask me like, what morning routine do you copy from the celebrities that you support? And I would say, screw morning routines. Who needs a morning routine? You just have to get up and just get to work and do what you need to do. And I actually truly believe that if that is what is right for you, then please go and do it. But a lot of times you see the really successful people, they'll meditate, and there's 2 things in common. They meditate and they work out. And in my head, I was like, "Oh, meditating, so I just have to sit here for 10 minutes and just do nothing. Okay, great." And so I would do that and just check it off the list. But I didn't realize that's actually, like, training your mind for
Right.
that moment, not a quiet 10 minutes, but for the rest of your day that you have to go through. And then working out wasn't just because it, like, gives you more energy. Yes, that's great, and you can work harder. Yes, that's great, but it's actually a commitment to yourself. I'm gonna go to the gym. So, when you go to the gym, you're actually authenticating what you said that you were going to do and honoring. And if you can do that for yourself, you can do that for growing a business, for the people that you're working with. And that took me a
Yeah.
while to understand that too.
And you're absolutely right on that. And another piece about working out is it gets you into your body, actually into your body. Most people are so in the mental and they're out of their body. And for you to tap into what is true and right for you, you've got to be embodied. So working out brings you into your body. And in that place, you can access the intuition better. You can actually feel what's right for you. When you're running around in your head, you can't feel the things that are right and wrong for you. And that causes people to make inaccurate decisions for themselves. So as you started leaning more in and diving deeper into what was right for you, what began to happen in your business?
It was interesting. So those few clients that I took on just to take on that was from the old, they actually left organically. They didn't even leave very nicely either. They were blaming us for things, and it just turned into a disaster that was like before. And so that was big eye-opening experience for me where I was like, "Oh, I had to run into this brick wall 6 times before I understood that this really isn't what I wanna be doing." Like, tried to build the same business 6 times now, it's not working, so I need to jump 2 feet full in, and we are helping. We're going back to the roots. We understand as a team high profile people, celebrities, influencers, who those people who have a lot of attention on them, who are the accidental CEOs and business owners. And that we're going to help. And everyone else, we can refer them to somebody who's amazing, and we will find that network because, again, I have a bleeding heart and I do want to help everyone, but maybe it's from a referral from me. And yeah, and then as soon as I started doing that, it's amazing how kind of the universe opens, and I know that sounds like woo woo and but it's true. As soon as you lean into this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm good at, this is what my team is good at, and this is what makes us unique. It's just the opportunities are endless.
Yeah. What was the biggest thing emotionally and mentally that you had to let go of and break through to actually stop beating your head against the wall and trying to do it the same way?
I think for me, I don't know if it was like an emotional thing, but it was just looking at that bank statement again and again and being like, we've put so much effort into this client that wasn't our actual good fit, and now we're losing money on this like, it's costing us money, and we don't have a lot of money at this time, and I don't wanna say that all business is about money and also success is about money, but because my massive business failure had me looking at personal bankruptcy, money is a big thing in my life and what I think about, so when regrowing the business, I'm very cautious about like where money is going and is it going to the right place? And let's make sure that we don't like, lose it again. So just looking at the bank statements and seeing the loss of money that's happening from helping these clients that aren't the right fit for us was just the biggest eye opening. I can't keep doing this.
And this is the thing about money, and people don't realize money, all it is, it's an amplifier. So it is something that literally it's like it shines a flashlight on what needs to be paid attention to. For you, it was shining a flashlight on clients who were not the right fit. And when we talked about why did you take on those clients who were not the right fit? And it was because you were worried about the money, which is funny. And so worried about the money, and then I'm going to take on these people, and they're the clients that are making me actually lose money. So money is really cool in that way if you can look at it as an amplifier instead of, oh my God, I need the money. But what is this money pattern and this thing with the money trying to show me? It's like when lottery winners win the lottery, they're usually broke in 3 years because money just amplifies what's already there. So I love that by being strategic and looking at the numbers, you were able to figure it out. But there is that emotional hook in there about where it came
Yeah.
from. How do people
Also,
work? Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say also leaning into what is really hard. I put their head in in the sand and don't want to do that. And for me, looking at the numbers was the hardest thing to do in my day. But I force myself to look at them every single day. It was like, I can't pay this bill. Why am I looking at this number in my bank account? I still can't pay it. But doing that hard thing really helps keep the momentum going and moving you forward.
Yeah, and doing that hard thing is it's not physically hard to look at the numbers, but it's emotionally hard to look at the
Yeah.
numbers. And
Yeah.
that's the big key I think that most entrepreneurs don't know is the things you are avoiding, you're not avoiding because you don't like them. You might not like them, but you have emotional attachment to it that's negative, and that's why you don't want to do it. So by doing the hard thing, a big piece of that is leaning into the things that are emotionally difficult because in that facing of that's where the freedom begins to come. If you can actually get to the crux of what that emotion is and clear it, then all of a sudden it's looking at the numbers isn't hard. It's easy. And when you look at it, you don't feel a certain way about it. You're just like, oh, this is what it is. And you adjust accordingly instead of, oh, this hurts. I don't want to look at, oh, okay, I've got to do this. And when you free up that emotional ease, things start to happen differently in your business. How do accidental CEOs, celebrities, high net worth people, how do these people get in touch with you, work with you, follow
And
you, all these things?
yeah. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I know you're probably going to put it in the show notes, but Tarra Stubbins, you can find me. And my website is takeiteasygroup.com. Come find me there or on LinkedIn.
Beautiful. Easy. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
If you are not driving, open up your browser right now. Look up Tara Stubbins on LinkedIn. Type in takeiteasy.com.
Yep.
Take
Take
it
it easy group.
take it easy group.
Takeiteasygroup.com.
Good. And of course, the last question I want to ask you is, what does being the wolf mean to you?
Yeah, I know I hinted at this, but being your authentic self really allows you to soar into your own uniqueness and greatness. And it took me a while to figure that out that, oh, I have to be me and not just me as a helper, but me as the person who's just living my authentic self. Also, I think of wolves as being like really tough on the outside, but being able to be unique and gentle almost on the inside. And I feel that's like me too, as I go after my big dreams. I'm tough on the outside, but I have that love and still willingness to help everybody around me.
Yeah, there's a dynamic with the wolves that I think a lot about, and it's like this dynamic of power and grace.
Yeah.
It's like the hard and the soft, the yin and the yang. It's the whole thing, and I think as we tap into who we truly are, it's like all aspects of us. We can't just compartmentalize and be this one way. We have to bring all of ourselves into our business, into our life, into our relationships. Yeah, that's
I
beautiful.
also think about how I grew and am now living in that kind of best life because of the broken ecosystem that I created for myself. And I would never be here this day right now if it wasn't for that broken ecosystem that I lived through. Same with the wolves in Yellowstone. They're only there because of the broken ecosystem.
Yeah, it's interesting when we can see the trauma and the tragedy as the gift that opens the way for more
Yeah.
expansiveness, more good in our life. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And remember, everybody, when you operate from the essence of who you truly are, humanity evolves. We'll see you next time on Be the Wolf. Bye, everyone.